Yeah, I thought it was my screen recorder app.
Nah, it's alright, man. Don't worry about it.
Cool, cool, cool. Right, there's someone else goes he's gonna join as well, but he goes he's gonna join in a bit because he's eating his iftar still. But yeah, all right, man. So let's just get straight into it, man. So, did you have any questions yourself that you wanted to ask?
For me, I told you some of the stuff on Instagram,
Yeah,
the stomach stuff. That's sort of my big issue right now. But I have lost a bit of weight, but I am looking a bit like better.
when
If
you say
I'm
you
being honest,
lost,
like
yeah,
there's still there's still decent muscle and it's fat from like the sides have gone a bit. Stomach is flattened down completely.
but are you
Uh,
saying that's because of like diet changes or just gut weakness that you had from food poisoning?
I think the gut weakness. I think it kind of helped me out, because I was stuck at 106 kg. I can't lie. I was stuck for ages. No matter what I did, I could not. It's like I hit a block, a solid
Right,
wall,
right.
and I couldn't get past it. In a
Yeah,
weird way, I think it's helped me because it's also
yeah.
made me not want to eat that bad stuff. But
Mm.
at the same time, it's Ramadan. You can fall a bit thingy into what your mom makes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear
Uh,
you, man. Sometimes these setbacks can be blessings in disguise, man.
yeah, exactly. So I see it as a kind of good thing. But yeah, I'm slowly getting back into it, man. Slowly. I was doing some press ups yesterday. That felt good as well.
Good, man. Good, good. So yeah, man, that's a good mindset. Obviously, like try and look at the positives in things, especially when you're like seeing it help you make progress. But obviously, like as you go along, like you said, you're slowly getting into it, and then you know it is gonna like from here on out, it is gonna depend more on your own like changes that you make and stuff. Obviously, you're aware of
Mm.
that, but yeah. Right, cool. So that was your main thing that you're like worried about the gut. Not, do you have any other like specific like Ramadan
I mean,
related
I
questions?
mean, in Ramadan, it's all right because no matter what I eat in Ramadan, I always end up losing weight just because of the fast and your
Mm.
stomach shrinks. And you don't really want to eat that much.
Mm-hmm.
But like generally speaking, in the diet front, I'm not 100% sure. So like after Ramadan, I mean, I was gonna eat. I was eating chicken before I got sick of it though.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to have like tuna and stuff. But I tried tuna right now. I think I had too much. I had way too much, and it was in oil as well. So
Mm.
I don't know if that made it heavier.
It could
I
be.
normally, yeah, I normally have it in water, but
Right.
the tuna chunks from Tesco in
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
I
yeah.
normally I don't have those,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm not sure because I don't know if the fasting is what I should do, or should I just like kind of eat a bit in the morning, a bit in the afternoon, a bit in the evening.
Like you mean you're talking about after Ramadan, right?
Yeah, yeah, after Ramadan.
Yeah. So someone else had a similar question, like literally to what you just asked. You just asked basically like you're thinking about like maybe skipping a meal from time to time and like spreading it out in like smaller meals throughout the day. Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically, rather than view it intimate fast, because I think my body got used to intimate fasting and it didn't wasn't taking much effect anymore.
Right, right. Yeah, so one thing I'd say is usually like obviously you've heard the term calories in, calories out, right?
Yeah,
Now with that, there is truth to it for sure, right? But a lot of people forget we're not robots, we're not machines. Like we're literally human beings, so we have other things affecting us as well, like our hormones, which is why
yeah,
stuff like sleep and recovery are important, eating enough healthy fats. A lot of people
yeah.
tend to forget that and they be like, it's just calories in, calories out, do a shitload of cardio and, you know, starve yourself. Like, you know what I mean? If you do
Bro,
that,
yeah,
it's
bro. I did that in 2023 when I played basketball. I think I lost like 20 kg.
yeah,
But as soon as I stopped playing, I went back to normal. It all came back on again.
that's the thing,
So
man. Like,
that's not the way to do it, man.
yeah, it's not the way. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, everyone's different, and like in certain situations, some of these strategies can be useful, like in the short term. But long term, like, nah, like,
No.
because we're
Plus,
human, man. Like, we need to make sure our systems are all working properly and working in
that
our
thing.
favor.
Plus, what do you call it? It wasn't like yeah, I lost weight, but it wasn't like body looked good in that. It was more like just like a lot of muscle loss as well. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah, exactly. Like a lot of like, basically ending up like skinny fat, which is something you don't want to be.
The
Skinny fat
worst
or
one. That's the
skinny,
worst body type there is.
skinny fat is just yeah. You want to avoid that, man.
Horrible.
Prevention's better than like trying to treat something. So it's better to avoid making such a big mistake and like then compared to
Mm,
later on trying to like fix it, it gets harder basically. So going back to
exactly.
your like original question, what I'd say is when it comes to like meal patterns and like eating, at the end of the day, you know your body best. Everyone's different. Obviously, It takes a bit of testing, right, to fully know like what your body demands.
Mm,
But I'd say like like if you feel like that's gonna be best for you,
Mm.
splitting it up and having small meals, then go for it, man. Like honestly, do that, test it. It should work in your favor. But if you feel like, I guess in your case, it's the fact that intermittent fasting feels like it's just slowing down because your body's probably getting used to it. I guess it also depends on
Yeah.
what you're eating while you're intermittent fasting,
I
like
mean,
during your
I was
window.
eating, at one point, I was eating wraps.
You were
Then I
eating what?
started, then I toned it down a bit. Then I was eating homemade stuff, but then I was eating bread, like chicken sandwich, stuff like that. A bit of protein shake and water. So it's not really like a lot in terms of protein wise, is it? Having four of them and then having a protein shake.
So that kind of lines up with what I was about to say. Like, let's say you are intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting might not even be what the issue is. It might not even be the case that your body's like just used to it and it's like not letting you make progress anymore. It could just be that you were maybe eating the wrong things or not enough of the right things during that window
Would be.
when you are
Yeah.
eating. It could be the issue, or it could just be that you function better maybe by like spreading out your meals and like having smaller meals throughout the day and still working out. Maybe your
I,
workouts end up better. So it just depends, and you have to test.
I think eating like a bit morning, a bit afternoon, a bit. I think it kind of at least more morning or night. I think it kind of helps regulate the body more. If that makes sense.
Yeah, nah, I hear you, man.
It
Yeah,
keeps the motion going like in
yeah,
a circle rather than just stuck.
like your digestive system carries on like
Yeah, just like
somewhere.
everything flows better.
Yeah, nah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Obviously, you get a more like consistent flow of energy, but at the end of the day, everything is like everyone's different. Like some people watching this video might be like, intermittent fasting works perfectly for me, and other people can be like, nah, never. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta test it and find out at the end of the day. Obviously, it's gonna depend on your goal as well, but that kind of just leads me on to the next question someone sent in, which is a bit similar to yours. But he goes that if after Ramadan, he goes, I wanted to know if after Ramadan I skip lunch, would that be healthy long term? So let's say I eat breakfast around 7:30 in the morning, then not eat until I get home from work around 7 in the evening. So he's basically
Mm.
saying if I ate like 7:30 in the morning and then like nearly 12 hours later at 7 p.m. after work, if I ate a meal, then like is that healthy? And again, it just goes back to like what we just discussed about your question, which is everyone's
What do
different,
you
and you're gonna have to test it really and truly. Like, but it also does depend on your goal. You know what I mean, and your lifestyle. Like obviously, you talked about going work there. You might be
Mm.
really, really starved at work. It might affect your focus at work. Which is that something you really want? I don't know. Like,
With me, when I was working and when I was working a lot, I used to not eat. I hardly ate, and I used to function better.
okay, yeah. So that's the
For me
thing. Like,
personally,
yeah. So I've heard of that as well. Like a lot of people say like they might eat some food in the morning and then later on they just have more clarity. But some
mm,
people can't focus as much as well. So that's what I'm saying. Like it does take some testing. Imagine like the fasting and you're going like fasting that long right after having breakfast, and then you're going work and then you have a workout after. It might not work for you, or it might like really affect the
no, it's not
quality
for
of your
everyone.
work and workouts. So what I'd say is it does depend, and obviously like with this question as well, like so it depends on two things: your lifestyle and your goals. So
Mm,
with this person who sent this question in, I know what his goals are basically, and I'd say for him it could help him like support his goal, but if he's not someone who is comfortable with fasting consistently, it could backfire and you might just get like mad cravings and just give into them
yeah,
and just binge. You know what I mean? Like after like a few
mm,
days,
yeah, yeah,
and just
completely
lose all
backfire.
that
Yeah.
progress, and then probably end up putting on even more weight in a bad way by with gaining more fat. So what I'd say is we don't need to usually do anything extreme. Like I think a lot of people don't realize like how easy it is to win when you give yourself a big enough like scale of time, right, to reach the
Mm,
goal. And I think a lot of us, like even I've done this before in the past, like I'll admit, is trying to like really make a lot of progress in a small amount of time, and then that can
mm,
really backfire, or afterwards it just gets hard to keep. And I'll know. I guess for me, it would have been the opposite of like not weight loss, where it would have been like weight gaining and doing like extreme diets for like in the short term, and then afterwards
you
like
get it done fast. Yeah.
messing up my mind, messing up my relationship with food, messing up my
Mm,
relationship with training, and just kind of quitting completely for a while. Which is like if I just stuck to like a more sustainable approach for longer, I would
mm.
have gotten the results and it wouldn't have been as hard, right? But don't get me wrong, you can push yourself harder for smaller amounts of time, but it just doesn't have to be like crazy extreme David Goggins type of shit. You know what I mean? So,
I yeah, no, exactly that. That won't work for everyone. Mm,
and that's the thing. Like, it is important. Like I think a lot of people do extreme like stuff like diets and training more for the short term like thing to look forward to. Like I'm gonna have X result by a week or two, right? But it doesn't
Yeah,
have
one
to be
hundred percent.
extreme. It doesn't have to be extreme for you to get quick results like in the short term, like reaching short term targets, whether that's weight targets or training targets. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
those are the things. The smaller changes that are happening every week are the things that are meant to be like motivating you. So basically, really, like that's what's meant to keep you thinking. Like, yeah, you're gonna have your long term goal, but just having a long term goal, which you're gonna reach in a year or two if you stay consistent, is so like boring and like, on those tougher days, you're just gonna be like, oh, it's gonna take me a year anyways. I might as well just sleep in, which. I can understand that thought process if your goals and your motivation is going to come like a year later when you finally get your transformation. Like, that's just hard to stick to. You need those specific little goals. So, what I'd
Yeah.
say is to this person, like, you don't have to do anything extreme. I bet you if you have smaller, like a few small meals throughout the day, as long as you know what's going into your body and you're making like smart choices and you're getting enough like healthy fats as well and a high protein
Mm.
diet, trust me, you'll go a long way because you're working out as well, you're improving your sleep. All of these are factors that, like, these three, four factors are what you need to focus on. Trust me, you'll get progress.
Yeah, exactly. But plus, you know, like my brother, he's got a similar body type to me in it, and he's making really good progress because he kind of really he tracks it a lot, like proper. He
Mm.
tracks it a lot. He goes to the gym. You've probably seen him, but he's what do you call it? He sort of does it more on a slower, like a smaller deficit, like 500 deficit, something like that. And he
I wouldn't
eats in
say
the morning
500
after,
small. I'd say
huh?
that's like kind of decent size to be fair.
Who?
Like a 500 calorie deficit. I'd say that's
Oh
quite good.
yeah, yeah. Why is that? Is that decent?
Yeah, it's a decent amount. I wouldn't call it small. I'd say small would be like 200, 300.
Okay, so yeah, he's along those kind of lines, something like that.
Yeah.
But he's been losing weight slowly, but he's been losing it.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
I've been trying this, trying that, and I either lose too much, and now it comes back on again, and I'm just like, so maybe I'm gonna try what he does.
yeah. I would recommend it because look like with him, like you gotta see, it's not just weight loss, right? It's about losing body fat and at the same time
Yeah,
increasing,
exactly.
at least maintaining your muscle mass if you're doing like a faster fat loss. But at least
Mm,
like with him, he's probably increasing muscle mass at the same time, bro,
he
and
is.
losing
He
fat, which is
is.
like hitting the jackpot. That's the main goal, really, for
That's
most
what you
people. And you'll
want.
see with him because he's taking a more sustainable, a bit more patient approach. I'm messing up my words there. He should be able to keep a better hold of his results afterwards. So
Yeah. He definitely he's been more patient with it. And
yeah,
that's the thing. I was always trying to rush it, so
yeah,
it's
yeah. I'd
backfired
say for
every single
you,
time.
yeah,
But when I was working out properly before, I was
mm,
making good. I was making good progress though. Like my body was like shaping nicely because when I put more before I was putting too much thingy into like cardio,
mm,
and that wasn't the right move.
mm-hmm,
But then when I put more pressure into like calisthenics, weight calisthenics, stuff like that, it
mm.
started shaping my body a lot more.
Yeah, man. Like obviously, that's gonna be basically if it all falls into resistance training. You're training using your muscles.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
were trying to progress as well, right? Doing more reps, more sets, more weights over time. And with that, obviously, when you say it shaped up your body, basically what was happening was you were building more muscle, and
yeah,
you were losing like all the other like calorie deficit stuff was making you lose, and like, extra activity was making you lose body fat at the same time.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and yeah, like what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Yeah, so for you, like I'd say, just focus on the short term targets, man. Training and like diet targets. Another
You're just not
thing,
rushing
like
it.
a lot of people get attached to the weighing scale, which is why they like the number on the scale, right? Which is why they want such a quick like win by doing something extreme. So you need to have another way to track your progress. Obviously, like improving in training is one thing. Another thing would be like maybe taking pictures every week in the mirror, like in the same lighting, same place, so you can see some changes.
Mm.
Because sometimes your weight stays the same, but you're still dropping fat and increasing muscle, since muscle weighs more than
The
fat,
waist
right?
part, the waist part is the most annoying part, man. That's part goes the slowest for me. The waist part. It's way less than it is what it was before, thank God. But that's the part that's like the most annoying that goes the like the slowest, I would say. That's gonna require a lot of patience.
You mean weight, like as in your body weight or your
Oh no,
muscle
like
weight?
yeah, like the waist
The
area.
waist, the waist. Right, yeah, so that's where most of our body fat tends to be stored up,
Yeah,
so
it's annoying,
it
man.
does make sense, like, but, you can't really
It's gone
target.
down though. It's gone down since before.
Yeah, I'd say just focus overall on how, like, much body fat, like, your total body fat is, percentage wise, right? and just focus on reducing that over time, which is going to come from like just living the lifestyle right,
Mm.
like being in a deficit, keeping your protein intake high, making sure your sleep is like preferably 8 hours at least, with good
Yeah.
timing, staying hydrated. Obviously, we talked about in the Ramadan challenge group chat, right, with all the electrolytes and stuff. And
Mm.
yeah, like those are the main factors, and just making sure you recover when you are too sore and you know you need some time. Stuff like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
it
Yeah.
really goes a long
Yeah.
way. Like,
What what goes a long way.
like just making sure you keep in keep track of all these factors. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, and like being a bit patient with it, making sure you recover as well.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know the can you do the planche?
That was a very random question.
That's
With me,
that's on my mind.
yeah, so that's something I'm working on right now. I'm on straddle planche and straddle planche push-ups.
Okay,
So
it's planche is pretty hard on it.
I can't do full planche. But with me, it's been like by now I would have. I'll be honest with you, I would have achieved full planche.
Mm.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm still gonna achieve it, right? But with me, I've just had a
Oh.
lot of like. Obviously, you've like seen like a lot of like health setbacks and stuff, and like
Yeah, yeah,
slowly
I've
like
seen it
coming
all.
back and going. So my training does get a bit rocky for like a few months, and then I have like a good few months. So right now, what I've been doing is I've really like come across some really really good stuff, and I've been testing it. It has been showing like really good like improvements,
Effective
right?
in that.
So thank you, man. And
You
yeah,
get
like now I'm like feeling more comfortable with like long term. Like yeah, I'm gonna be like successful with it because obviously you need
to
some
be honest.
momentum, right, and
Mm.
consistency. Otherwise, no matter what you know, like how hard you train,
Mm.
you're never gonna get progress to like a certain point. But yeah. So now I'm like more like not. It's not like something random's gonna happen and like take off my progress for like a month straight. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm really looking forward to this year, man. And that's why I've been like coaching full time as well because I know I can handle it. And like obviously you've probably been seeing like quite a few people there getting some transformation progress
I
recently.
saw it. I saw it. I saw some recently he posted at the time.
Yeah, and
I
that's
think
the
he
good
did. It was
thing. Like,
pretty good.
and that's the good thing.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, hello. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello, hello. Can you hear us?
Yo.
Oh, yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, me and Hader, we were just talking about like in general, like how you should view training and your lifestyle, like kind of from like a bigger point of view, right? Like look at it from a bird's eye view. Don't just look at the training and you have to go extreme. Think about like you know your sleep, your recovery, your hydration, your diet, obviously, and your training
Yeah.
progress over time. If you keep track of all these factors, trust me, you'll go far. Hader's just left. Hopefully, he never got
Inshallah.
kicked out or something. Oh, he joined. Okay.
My bad.
Yeah, I thought you got kicked out for a second. But
My bad.
yeah, let's just get on to yeah, it's just something else that you mentioned, Hader, about because your brother was like tracking. I just want to make a quick point to anyone watching this. You know, when we say like you know you should track your meals and stuff, it's more just to
Mm.
become more aware of the foods that you're putting into your body. Really, be more aware. Like you'd be surprised, a lot of people like, and it's an easy mistake to make. They might have certain snacks and certain foods, and they'll be like, "I'm not eating that much. Why am I not losing weight?" It's because you didn't know how many calories and how much fat and how much sugar was in those snacks. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we eat certain
Yeah.
things and they're like very processed and they're very easy to just like eat a lot of them, right? So you might not even know
Mm.
what you're eating because you're snacking and watching TV. And before you know it, you've gone through like a whole 2 bags of sensations or something.
Yeah.
So the whole like idea with tracking isn't to be too restrictive and be like, you know, I'm gonna have exactly this amount and this many grams of this. Obviously, in the future, when you're more like disciplined and more strict, and later on, like further on into your journey, and you're trying to cut down some of your
Mm.
body fat, then you can be like, yeah, yeah, I want to like use a little food weighing scale and like make sure I'm eating exactly this amount. At the start, though, it's just about being aware. You'd be surprised how much progress you make from that. Like even with me and my clients, like I tell them soon in the future you're going to be using food scales, but not anytime soon. For now, let's just track and get you used to like knowing how to check how many calories are in your meals and your snacks. And it doesn't even have to
Yeah.
be 100% accurate, just mostly accurate, right? And that way it'll be easy for you to like be aware and like avoid more of the bad stuff because you're more aware of it. And they literally did a study of this, man. Like I'm kind of waffling now, but it's just too interesting. Like they did a study, like a scientific study where they got people to not go on any restricted diet or anything. They just got them to be more aware just by tracking, and automatically those people were making progress with the weight loss just because they were aware of it, and then naturally they were like, "Nah, I don't want to eat too much of this or that." You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. Aware of what they're putting inside. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like
awareness
it's
is
not like
key, man.
processed crap. It's more like whole foods and stuff that.
Exactly, exactly.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, man, go for it.
How do you know what to eat and how to eat it? And what workouts to do?
So we can repeat that. What? How do you know what to eat and how to eat it, and what workouts? I didn't fully understand. Sorry.
Yeah, are you allowed to eat oily foods or
So
samosa or that stuff?
right, right. So good question, man. So what I'd say is, you're allowed to eat anything you want. Just be aware. So it kind of goes back to what I was saying, but there is a caveat. I'm not saying go and like eat a ton to your heart's desire because that's gonna work against you, right? Especially with these oily foods, they're not gonna support you while fasting either. But I know that if it's on the table and you're smelling it and you spent the whole day fasting, it might be hard for you to like fully withdraw from that and not have it at all. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the group chat, which is, you know, firstly get hydrated. Have your dates, have your water with your electrolytes in there, have your fruits. Once you're hydrated, you've had like some good fruit and stuff. Then have your actual like good meal, like your whole foods based meal. And then after that, now your hunger's mostly gone, right? Now you can maybe have a little bit, one or two pieces of like samosas or pakoras. But guess what? Now, because you're not hungry anymore, you're not going to have as much of it. You know what I mean? Because one of the mistakes is like just breaking your fasting is having like pakora and samosa, and you're going to end up eating loads of it because you're still hungry. You know what I mean? So hopefully that
Yeah,
makes sense. So what I'm saying is, you might you might feel like you have to completely withdraw yourself from it. I'm not even going to say that because I know that often, especially at the start of the journey, like if you're withdrawing yourself, saying no, I can't have it at all, it kind of leads you to like want to have it even more. You know what I mean? So if you have your real food first and your hydration, you won't even want to have much of it, and you might have one or two pieces and be like, forget that. You know what I mean? So I think that's the really good strategy, and that way you're not missing out either, and your family won't be having to go at you for not eating the food they made.
trust me.
Because you got to think
Yeah,
about it like from a realistic perspective, right? Uh,
yeah, exactly.
and what most people can stick to. But yeah. Do you guys have any other like little questions before I dive into some more questions that I've sent in?
Uh, what workouts do you do?
Okay, that's a great question. Kind of a vague question. So I would kind of be sat here all day if I was talking about what workouts I did. But what I'd say is, I guess you're asking because you want to know what workouts you should focus on, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, cool. So, what I'd say is it does depend on the stage of the journey that you're at, right? Like if you're newer, you're going to be working on different things, and it also depends on like your goal, like with your body, right? Like whether that's gaining weight or gaining weight a bit slower, or trying to maintain your body and lose fat, or like just focus more on losing a lot more body fat and maintaining muscle. So it just depends on your goals. But what I'd say is, if you're newer to working out, first, let's talk about what style of training you want to focus on. Do you want to get better at calisthenics, which is basically body weight training? Do you want to get better at weightlifting, or do you want to do a combination of both, or do you want to do powerlifting? Like it all depends on you, really. And then after that, based on your goals, it's going to determine more about how your diet should be alongside what type of like workouts you should be focusing on, like within your training style. So yeah, like I guess are you training more for calisthenics or weightlifting or
Yeah, but do you focus on each body part for each day?
Good question. So yeah, no, I wouldn't do that because that type of split where I'm guessing you're referring to like a bro split, right? Where you're training like one muscle and then like chest one day, shoulders one day, back one day. I would say like you shouldn't really be doing that, especially as a beginner. Those type of splits are more for people that are basically on steroids, like those bodybuilders, because they can train at really high intensities for like specific muscles for each day. They can dedicate a whole day for one muscle and then the next day do another muscle, and it's fine for them because they're going to recover faster because they're on steroids, right? For natural people like us, I would say no way. Like you shouldn't be training like that. And I see a lot of beginners at gym doing that as well. Probably because it's more like mainstream, right? Because of a lot of like bodybuilding training and stuff. But you got to remember, we're natural. We're not on steroids like a lot of bodybuilders. So for you, what I'd say is
How is that?
structure your workouts in a way where you're training each muscle 2 to 3 times a week. So something like an upper lower split. So one day training your whole upper body, then next day training your whole lower body, and then having a rest day and repeating. Or something like push pull legs where you're training all your push muscles, which are chest, shoulders, triceps on one day, then your pulling muscles, which are back biceps, and a different part of your shoulder on the next day, and then you can do legs on the third day, and then have like a rest day and repeat. So I would say focus on one of those splits, probably either a full body split or upper lower split for you. So full body would be like training your whole body, but you're training at a lower intensity, right? So you can do that and then recover as well. And after that session, you're then having a rest day. The next day, maybe you're doing some cardio and then repeating and taking a rest day when needed. So that's what I would say for like more of a beginner, and you're gonna make way more progress doing that because you have to keep building as well.
Oh, is someone dying in the back or something?
Yeah, what is that sound? I think it's probably outside to be fair. But did
Yeah,
that
I'm on a
answer?
walk right now.
Oh, okay, he's
Ah,
on a walk.
sure, pause it.
Did that answer make sense though, Mohammed?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
how do I know like what to do for each day?
Okay, I'll talk to you about this on WhatsApp because it's going to be a bit of a long convo if we go on that here. But I'll talk to you about that on WhatsApp. But yeah, so what we'll do for now is I'm going to go through a few more questions that were sent in. So someone goes, how can I stay energized while fasting, especially in the afternoon because I'm getting quite tired and losing my focus. So one of my clients literally had this issue, literally like a week ago, like in the first week of Ramadan. But he did two things. Firstly, was just wait it out because basically our bodies take a bit of time to get used to like it being in a different state, right? Obviously, being fasted all of a sudden when you were just eating like 3 meals a day normally, it's going to come as a bit of a shock to your body, right? It's going to take a bit of time to adapt. But the good thing is our bodies do adapt quite well. It just tends to take around like a week to 10 days. And my client did make another change. He goes that for suhoor, he figured out that having oats really helps him for some reason. Like it just
Mm.
maybe he finds it easier to digest it and whatever. And obviously oats are like a good source of like complex carbs, right? Don't listen to Eddie Abbey saying that it's the same as having sugar. But
I
yeah,
saw that.
yeah, with him, like he says, some things he says are really good. Don't get me wrong. Like I like how he talks about having real food and not having like a lot of processed BS, right? Which I agree with. And there's some things which is just like, nah.
BS.
And you can tell he's just saying it to get like more engagement and more views, which I get. The
Mm.
game's the game, but just messing up people's like perception as well, right? Of like what to do. But and obviously because he's got like millions of followers, a lot of people see that and they think, yeah, this guy's
Got influence in it.
yeah, and it must be like this guy's right, like 100% because he's got millions of followers, which isn't necessarily the case. But anyway, before I just went on a rant on Eddie Abbey. But what was I saying? Yeah, so he said that he found out that having like a big bowl of oats at sahur works well for him. So I'd say like really try and optimize what you're having for your sehri meal, right? And yeah, like focus on getting some complex carbs in, some healthy fats, like maybe from avocados and Greek yogurt, and you should be good to go really. Um, Also make sure you're well hydrated. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, at least 7 hours. Obviously, these might be a bit separated and split apart, but yeah, 7 hours is all right. 8 hours is the aim, especially because it's split apart and sleep that's like split up into two. It tends to reduce the quality of the total sleep, right? So getting 8 hours should help you. Um, but yeah, do let your body adjust in the first like 10 days of fasting. So don't be training too hard and trying to push yourself too hard work wise as well. And then after that, you should feel more natural and like fasting's coming to you more naturally. How do I manage my workouts without getting too exhausted? Yeah, so again, it just comes down to like making sure you're not pushing yourself too hard straight away, and then make changes and listen to your body. Because in Ramadan, you're not even meant. This isn't a time where you're meant to be like aiming for gains.
Mm.
It's a time where you're meant to like increase your discipline. Really, you know what I mean? Like you're not meant to spend too long working out in this month. I'd say focus more on efficiency. Like even if you work out 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day, anyone can find that time to stop wasting too much time watching TV or scrolling on Instagram on your phone or TikTok or watching random YouTube videos, and you'll find out you have way more time than you thought. Usually, usually that's the case anyway. And you can put some of that time, not even all of it, put some of that free time that you've created into working out. You don't even have to go to the gym, just work out from home. You just need to focus on staying active, and that's going to help you improve your energy, your focus, and just help you with fasting overall, really. So what I'd say, again, my final answer to like not feel too exhausted, don't train too hard too fast. Train at like maybe half of what you train normally, and then slowly increase it. Right. what are some practical tips so I can stay hydrated even when I'm like fasting? Yeah, so at iftar, you want to make sure that the first thing you do is you hydrate before you even eat. And I'd say a big mistake is at sehri, like in the last 10 minutes, because there's less time over. Like you're often waiting, right, and you just might end up drinking a ton of water and try and chug it down in the last 10 minutes. That's not a good idea because you're gonna end up like peeing that out. You're gonna go toilet like 3 4 times right after. So that's usually because that water isn't staying, or most of it isn't staying in your body because you don't have enough electrolytes. But I'm gonna get onto that in a second. I'd say focus on at iftar when you break your dates, when you break your fast with dates, and you have some water. Then I want you to focus on getting some water and fruits into your body, but add some electrolytes to your water. So per glass, add a small little pinch uh, of pink salt. Okay, I see Mohammed has raised a hand. But per glass, add a pinch of pink salt. I'll get onto your question in a second, Mohammed. And I'm saying that per glass, don't add too much pink salt. But pink salt basically has some minerals and electrolytes that are going to help you basically stay hydrated and retain more water. And then after you've had quite a bunch of water, then you can eat some food. And you don't want to be drinking water right after you eat, or else it's just sitting on top of the food and it takes longer to absorb it and stuff, and can cause some bloating. Right, Mohammed, so you raised your hand. I'm guessing you have another question.
Yeah. Where do I get like electrolytes and stuff from?
Yeah, so literally what I was just saying, like Himalayan pink salt is good. Like per glass of water, add like a little pinch. Don't add too much pink salt though. I had a friend who took my advice and he came to the gym like a couple of days later. He had to take a few days off, right, because he put too much pink salt in his water. And he was like, "Oh, I just had diarrhea after following your advice." I go to him, "You put too much salt in there. You want to just put a little pinch, like tiny per glass, and that should be enough, really, because yeah, it just has enough minerals." But yeah, going back to your question, it's kind of like summing it up. Have a pinch of pink salt per glass of water. If you're having
Yeah,
five
but like,
glasses,
where do I get it from?
you just go to any shop, like a basic supermarket near you. They should have Himalayan pink salt. Another salt is Celtic salt. I've heard that's really good as well. And if you don't have any of those, just go with normal salt. It's not going to be as good as pink salt because pink salt has more minerals, but salt still has like sodium, um, chloride. Chloride, is that what you call it alone? I don't know. But kind of a bit tired of forgetting the terms, but you get the idea. You're going to get those minerals, and yeah, salt alone is going to be better than not having any type of salt. Yeah, does that make sense? And yeah, like you could also have like certain fruits as well, like watermelon, um, some other veggies as well that are like gonna help you hydrate. They're not coming to my mind right now, but yeah, stuff like carrots and stuff. Let's see. How do how do I manage hunger cravings during the day, and especially if I'm struggling with them a lot? So yeah, it's gonna come down to obviously your body adapting, right? You have to give yourself some time. But if you're getting a lot of cravings, I would say firstly focus on your hydration, like because if you're not hydrated, even outside of Ramadan, like a lot of people get like sugar cravings, right? Obviously, you might just be used to having a lot of sugar, but what I'd say is first focus on hydration because when you're dehydrated, it really makes you want more sugar. It just does for some weird reason. Not for some weird reason. There is a scientific like reason for it. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but it's literally proven that when you're dehydrated, you tend to crave more sugar. I mean, even for me as well. So do what I was talking about earlier, like at iftar, make sure you're hydrated first with your electrolytes. At sehri as well, like have some water, but it shouldn't be most of your water. Most of your water you should be having first when you're breaking your fast. Um, but yeah, and that should reduce some craving. Also eating like real foods at iftar and sehri. You know, eating some health sources of healthy fats, proteins, and making sure you're getting some complex carbs as well and enough of them. And you should be fine. You should notice your hunger cravings start to drop quite a bit. But if you're eating a lot of oily foods and fried foods at iftar and sehri, man, then you're in for a world of trouble, man. Like you're kind of asking for it to like just basically mess up. But yeah. Okay, the last question I've got here is a pretty good question. This one. It's gonna be how can I make sure my sleep schedule is good for Ramadan? So it is slightly vague, but it kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier. Like I mentioned, like you want to make sure you're getting enough hours of sleep, but because it's split up, you want to make sure your routine is effective for like your lifestyle. Right? Obviously, you're gonna go mosque after iftar, right, to read Tarawih, which is gonna take some time, unless you're reading it at home, and even at home, it's gonna take some time, right? And from what I've heard, like most of my clients are saying they sleep at like midnight and then get up at like 4, half 4 for Sehri. And then after that, they're sleeping at like 6 until about 10, 11, or maybe even 12. I think that's a pretty decent like sleep strategy. But just make sure you're getting enough hours and make sure that during the day you have like a workout in place. It doesn't have to be intense, but just moving more is going to help you get better quality sleep as well. So and that'll support you in your fast as well. So if you want a good sleep schedule, another tip: if when you wake up, go outside, like literally for like even just 5 minutes. Go outside, let that natural light fully hit you, not just through a window because you don't get all of the rays of sunlight hitting you. It doesn't have to be sunny, by the way, just literally any light, because all light is coming from the sun anyway. And you just have to go out, let some light hit you, get some fresh air, and what that light will do is it'll help you like reset your circadian rhythm, which is like your body's internal clock, and that'll just help you get better quality sleep as well. And you'll find yourself like waking up earlier and like possibly waking up before your alarm as well. Okay, cool. You've raised a hand, but yeah, that was the last question that I was sent in. So let's just answer this question of yours, Mohammed, and we'll go from there.
Hello, can you send me this recording of yours?
Yeah, yeah. So
Because
what? Yeah, I'll be sending
I'm
a
at the
link.
gym now, yeah, and I might need to go.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Like what I'll do is I'll send like I'm currently recording this call, so I'll send a link to the call later today, like in the group chat. So anyone who's not like yeah, don't mind me there. It's taking a picture for the story. But yeah, anyone who's not able to join or like had to join late, they can watch the whole recording later on. But yeah, you'll get a link, so don't worry. But yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Like I've sent you out to know.
Thanks. Might need to go now, right?
Yeah, man. Right, right, cool. So yeah,
There he's
man.
gone.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to go through on this call, man. Like, unless you've got any other last minute questions or just any thoughts you want to share.
No, that was good, man. That was it was a really good like reminder, some tips.
Yeah,
I had to go with that things, and
uh huh.
yeah, it was helpful. I'll take them on board, inshallah.
Yeah, man.
Most of the stuff I'm going to do a lot more after Ramadan,
Mm-hmm.
just to get like back into it properly.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm just kind of being careful with what I eat.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like, yeah, and like it goes back to what you were saying. Like, obviously, it's good to like take advantage of like free things like this, like with a free Ramadan challenge, or like even anyone watching this video, like trying to learn from it. Because
mm,
basically, in this, I'm not even holding back. I'm just giving like really detailed like tips that I know work, right? But at the end of
mm,
the day, not everyone comes and like really takes advantage of that and like takes that advice and tries to apply it in their life, right? Because that takes work, even if the advice is free. So I'd say like trying to hold yourself accountable and like maybe you're watching this video and you're like taking some notes for whichever parts are like useful. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Maybe I should have said that at the start, but it's kind of common sense, right? And
mm,
yeah, you'll go far by like taking advice wherever you can. Because if you're thinking like you might think like naturally we tend to think like if it was that easy, the info was that good, how come like not everyone's like in shape? I'll tell you now, it's just because most people either don't know how to apply it to their own life or can't hold themselves accountable
or
to
lazy.
actually like do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I've been there too as well, so I know that's true.
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, apart from that, obviously the score was pretty good though. I didn't expect it to be that like good, but
Yeah,
I'll do again.
it was pretty good for
Yeah,
sure.
man, that's good, man.
You
That's
know,
good.
one thing I'll say about you, though, I gotta rate you for the like you built a nice body, mashallah, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have IBS or anything like that, thankfully,
Mm.
but I've recently just got it because of Pakistan. Not got it, sorry, but I have a bit of a stomach bug because of
Anyone,
Pakistan, right? And it's annoying. I don't know how you do it, bro.
yeah, I'd
And
say
yours is worse. Yours is worse. So
yeah.
like, I don't know how you build because it's like I feel like you're gonna build, and then bam, you got to start again because it
Mm,
just your
mm.
body crashes out or some shit.
You know what it is, man. You've kind of hit the nail on the head. I'd say for you, like, because you just got this like food poisoning, right? Usually from an infection. right, from the
Yeah.
bad food that you had. I would say, like with me, like, because I got IBS back in like 2021 from like food poisoning, and since I was a kid, I was always like getting sick and stuff. I was always on
Mm.
antibiotics and like I was looking at my NHS app, like my record the other day. I was like, whoa, I don't remember all of that, but I was always struggling with like bad hay fever as well, which is why it came back recently. But sorted now. But
Mm.
I was just thinking about it, and I was like a lot of it is your mindset in it. Kind of like how you were looking at the positives of like your recent food poisoning,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'd say sometimes it can be hard to find a positive, but even if it seems really bad, there is always a positive that you can focus more on. Because a lot of life is just around your beliefs, bro. Like, it's about how you believe it. Like, one person will see one bad thing happening and let it just destroy them, and another person will see that and let it motivate them. They want to prove
Mm.
they can do it anyway.
Exactly.
So I'd say for me,
It's a bit
like,
of a line.
yeah, I'd say for me, like, there were many times where I couldn't do any of this stuff. So for me, just being able to do it, even if it is hard, feels great. Like it feels like like it's something to be grateful for. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't have the chance to do it, I'd be gutted. And there are people out there that can't do it, and there's people out there in worse situations than me with like cancer and all sorts, and they're still doing it. So there's no excuse for
Yeah.
me. Like obviously,
It's
if I
no,
have to
it's,
take
yeah, yeah. There's no excuse to be
yeah,
fair.
like if I have to take time off because of an attack or something, or like I made a mistake and had some spicy food and now I'm ill for like 3 days, then I'm just gonna have to deal with it and focus on recovery. But then when I come back, I'm still gonna be working hard and trying my best because that's all you can do at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're just human, man. So, to be fair,
Yeah,
mine's
and I'll tell
nothing
you.
bad like that, thankfully. But
Hmm.
mine's not as bad as that, thankfully. Nowhere near, nothing
Yeah,
like that.
man. Hopefully it's not as bad. Like I'd say
Inshallah, although, man.
what you've experienced was more like what would happen, like maybe for me if I got a bad attack. But it's not like that all the time. Maybe some annoyances throughout the day and some attack. There were times where it was really rough because I didn't know as much about what to do, and it can be annoying. It changes like it seems to change a bit every year, and you have to like readapt and learn about it. But I've recently come across a lot of things, and I'm just like grateful I can like take action and like do stuff about it. You know what I mean? And I've
Mm.
been seeing it work, so I'm really looking forward to this year making bare progress with calisthenics, inshallah. And
Inshallah, well,
yeah,
calisthenics to the one, man.
yeah, man, it feels crazy when you're doing it.
Calisthenics to the one, man.
And guess there was another thing I wanted to quickly touch on with this stuff. Uh, yeah, like I'd say it comes down to your mindset. And obviously, if you want the goal, even if you have to be a bit more patient for it, if you really want it bad, you'll keep showing up. And I'll say like
Yeah, 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 exactly.
yeah, and it's definitely made me more grateful about everything, training, normal life, being able to just eat meals and digest it and not have to like. Because there was a time where I thought I'd never like eat normal food again. There was a time like for a whole month straight, I thought yeah, I'm probably never going to train again. I think that was back in
Mm.
2021 in Ramadan. But
Yeah,
yeah, pretty rough. So once you've been through something like that, you're just happy to just live and do what you're doing really. Even though sometimes it is frustrating, but yeah, you just gotta kind of take the
just gotta get
positives
on
and
with it,
try.
innit,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. And
No
because
much else you
I
can do, to
agree
be
with you.
honest.
Like you were saying, you don't know how I like do it and like build my body and whatnot. But even I don't know how I do it. I just carry on doing it, and then eventually I look at pictures. I'm like, oh, I don't obsess like every week looking at my scale and stuff because or like pictures and judging because I know some weeks I'm sick and I can't literally control my progress. Then I can just try as hard as I can. So I tend to look at it like every month or so, right? And I'd say I don't even know how I'm making it this far with all the stuff that's happened over the past few years and the past 6, 7 years, and where I've started from as well, like having a super fast metabolism and whatnot, being super weak, like silly type of weak. I don't know how I'm here
Yeah.
to be honest, but when you're consistent over a long enough time frame, it builds up, it compounds, man. Like I think it was Einstein or someone like that said the seventh wonder of the world is compound something, the law of compound. I think you might have been talking about compound interest, but I guess it applies to
That's what I was thinking in my head.
it applies to
I was
basically
thinking, okay.
just consistency with anything really, with your work, with your training. You'd be surprised, like when you're in the battle. I think I was talking about this in the story recently. When you're in the battle and you're maybe losing or you're sick or like you had a bad workout, you feel like,
Mm.
oh man, I'm losing. But if you really zoomed out and looked at the whole war from like a bird's eye view, like long term, you'd be like, whoa, in this month I made more progress than I have in like the past year. You know what I mean? Especially if you're new. So it's just about
Yeah,
kind of zooming
exactly.
out, knowing you're still headed to that goal anyway. Even if it's like zigzagging, it's never going to be a straight line. Something always goes wrong, whether it's an injury or like illness or I don't know, COVID happening and you're saying
Anything,
you're
really,
okay.
anything that comes
Yeah,
up. Yeah, yeah.
anything's gonna happen. If you want it, you're gonna have to adjust somehow. Maybe you have to learn more. Maybe you have to just be more patient. maybe you have to go and get some advice, but yeah, like there's always a way around things, even if it's just being patient and waiting things out and just doing your best. But yeah, I wanted to finish it off on that really.
That was good, man. I appreciate it. It's a good call, man. I learned a lot. Alhamdulillah, I'll take it on board for sure.
Nice. I appreciate that, man. And yeah, obviously we'll get in touch if there's any other questions after, and obviously anyone else watching this call. Right now, I am running a free Ramadan challenge. It's 12 days. We did start it a few days into Ramadan because of some delays. This is the sixth day, I'm pretty sure. So we're doing this live call according to the roadmap I made for the challenge. But yeah, there's still like 6, 7 days. Obviously, if you want to join, you can find me on Instagram. Link should be in the bio. Adil Fitness Coach is my username, and you can drop me a message, and we'll talk, and I'll add you to the group. Obviously, there's some resources in there about what to do with your diet, with your training, and obviously you can talk to me on WhatsApp during the remaining 6, 7 days. I think 6 days left of the challenge, and we'll also soon be talking about in the challenge what to do for the rest of Ramadan as well. So yeah, hope you guys found this video useful. I've got a bit of a headache coming on that I had earlier in the day, so I'm gonna go get some rest. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon, Hader, and the rest of you.
All right, man.
Guys.
Take care, man. Assalamu alaikum. All right.
Welcome, take care, guys.
Assalam.